December 17th, 1944, 0640 hours, outskirts of Blyalf, Germany, deep inside the Ardennes fog. The forest is still half asleep. You can almost feel the cold air biting through wool coats, the kind that stiffens your fingers no matter how tightly you clench them. Snow clings to the branches overhead, bowing them like silent witnesses. And then a rumble, low mechanical, out of place. Oberst Hans von Luck raises a gloved hand, halting his column of exhausted Panzer Grenadiers. They've marched through the night, boots sinking into mud that's half frozen, half starved, just like the men wearing them. He hears it again. Not a tracked vehicle, not German, not even British. A Jeep. The fog part's just enough to reveal a small shape. Dark green, its canvas flaps swinging loosely in the wind. A lone U.S. Army Willys MB Jeep, parked awkwardly at the tree line as if abandoned in mid-breath. No guards, no ambush, no signs of a firefight. Just left behind. Von Luck narrows his eyes. American equipment almost never turns up alone. U.S. units are well supplied, well briefed, and notoriously careful. But during the chaos of the Ardennes offensive, anything is possible. He steps forward, boots crunching the frost. The Jeep is still warm. A mechanic checks the engine. Herr Oberst, they filled the tank yesterday, almost full. And then one of von Luck's men lifts a canvas cover in the back seat. A moment of silence. Inside the Jeep is not just a map or a rifle or a stray helmet. It's a treasure chest. 3 spare radio batteries, 2 full jerry cans of fuel, a week's worth of K rations, a working field radio, fresh winter gloves, even chocolate bars, the kind German troops haven't seen in months. Von Luck's breath catches, his fogged exhale hanging midair like a stunned pause. This wasn't a supply run. This wasn't a special unit. This was just a Jeep. One small, ordinary vehicle, and yet it carried more than his entire company had received in weeks. He runs a hand across the stacked crates, his fingers trembling slightly, not from cold, from recognition. For the first time, the thought forms in his mind with painful clarity. If the Americans can leave this much behind, what must they have ahead? Behind him, his men stare at the abundance like men who have forgotten what abundance even looks like. Half of them are hungry. All of them are exhausted. Supplies have been cut, stretched, rationed beyond reason. Every bullet counted. Every mile of fuel begged for. But this Jeep was overflowing. Von Luck looks at the small mountain of gear again. Gear left so casually, so thoughtlessly, that the Americans didn't even bother retrieving it. He swallows hard. In that cold, fog-soaked morning, the front lines shift in his mind. The war narrows to a single realization. Germany isn't fighting the U.S. Army anymore. Germany is fighting American industry, and that war is unwinnable. He closes the Jeep's canvas flap slowly, like sealing a verdict. Then he whispers something his aide can barely hear. A sentence that will not leave him for the rest of his life. Das ist das Ende. This is the end. But the morning is far from over, because what von Luck decides to do with the Jeep will change everything. The forest is still quiet when von Luck gives the order. Take it, he says, not with excitement, but with resignation. His men rush forward like wolves finding a carcass in winter, not out of greed, but out of desperate necessity. Their fingers tremble as they lift the crates. A soldier bites into a U.S. chocolate bar and closes his eyes, as if reminded of a world beyond snow, mud, and hunger. But von Luck doesn't move. He just stands beside the Jeep, staring at it as if it were a message written in metal and canvas, and in a way, it is. The Ardennes offensive was supposed to be their last gamble, a lightning strike, a final push to break the Allies before the Allies broke them. Hitler promised fuel, ammunition, reinforcements, but those promises were now frozen somewhere in the road network behind them. Von Luck knows it. His officers know it. Every man shivering in the trees knows it. Still, would they hold the line, because soldiers obey. But this Jeep, this absurdly stocked American Jeep, is a crack in the illusion. He steps around the vehicle, taking in every detail. The tires are new. The tools are clean. The jerry cans are factory perfect. Even the canvas top doesn't look worn. It's not just better maintained than his own vehicles. It's younger. Sir, his adjutant whispers, this is enough fuel to get us to the next objective. And beyond, von Luck replies quietly. He touches the steering wheel. Smooth, warm from the engine's last breath. A machine casually abandoned by men who have so many that losing one hardly matters. What kind of army treats equipment like this? What kind of nation can afford to? You can almost hear von Luck's thoughts tightening into a single point, a cold, brutal truth settling in his stomach. The Americans don't win because they fight better. The Americans win because they can replace everything they lose. He remembers the last meeting with his commanders, the maps, the counters, the fuel shortages, the thin red lines representing divisions that existed on paper but nowhere else. He remembers his men patching boots with wire. He remembers the empty supply trucks. He remembers hearing that Berlin was pulling boys from the Hitler Youth to fill ranks at the front. Then he looks back at this Jeep and sees the United States with terrifying clarity. A nation overflowing with steel, rubber, food, gasoline, engines, tires, radios, and men. Von Luck climbs into the driver's seat, feeling the strange comfort of American engineering. Simple, reliable, built for quantity, not elegance. Sir, should we report it? His aide asks. Von Luck shakes his head slowly. No, this stays with us. He doesn't say why. He doesn't need to. Because deep inside, he knows what this Jeep represents isn't tactical. It's not even operational. It's existential. A full tank of fuel, a crate of rations, a radio battery, 3 small items, but together, they weigh more than any tank on the battlefield because they carry a truth heavier than armor. Germany is out of time, out of material, out of miracles. Von Luck turns the ignition. The American engine purrs to life effortlessly. effortlessly, mocking the struggle of every German truck he has tried to coax through the winter. His men watch silently, some with awe, some with bitterness. He grips the wheel. This, he murmurs, is how they will win. But what Von Luck doesn't know is that this Jeep, this symbol of abundance, is about to lead him into an encounter that will confirm his worst fears. And once he sees what lies just a few miles ahead, he will never see the war the same way again. The Jeep moves like a whisper through the forest roads, smoother, lighter, somehow untouched by the misery that drags every German vehicle toward the mud. Von Luck drives in silence, the engine humming beneath him like a calm heartbeat. Behind him, a thin line of his men marches with the soft crunch of boots on frost. He isn't looking for Americans. He isn't looking for danger. He's looking for answers. A few minutes later, the trees thin, and the forest opens onto a clearing. And that's when he sees them. Not soldiers, not tanks, not enemy patrols. Supplies, mountains of them, scattered across the clearing like a temporary American drop zone. Crates, ration boxes, discarded packaging, empty fuel cans, and medical wrappers. Some torn open, some half-used. All of it left behind as casually as footprints. Von Luck stops the Jeep, breath freezing in the air. It's not a supply dump. No one would leave one undefended. It's not a battlefield. There are no bodies, no impact craters, no signs of panic. It looks more like a pause, as if an American unit had simply eaten, refueled, rearmed, and moved on without a second thought. His men fan out, picking through the remnants. Sir, look at this. A soldier lifts a box labeled Rations Type C, still half full. Another holds up a clean American bandage in disbelief. Another finds a stack of unused 30 caliber ammo belts. And then, the final insult, one man lifts a U.S. wool sweater still wrapped in plastic. Von Luck crouches beside a pile of empty fuel tins. The labels are bright, crisp, fresh, factory fresh, not the worn, repainted cans German units carry like family heirlooms. He runs a thumb over the embossed letters. Made in Michigan, Michigan. He can barely imagine a place so far away, producing so much, so fast. That equipment can be shipped across an ocean, driven into a frozen forest, briefly used and then thrown aside like trash. You see this? Von Luck says to his lieutenant. This is one morning of their supply chain. For a moment, he doesn't look like an Oberst. He looks like a man staring at a wave he knows he cannot outrun. You can almost hear the gears turning in his mind, grinding against reality. Germany's war effort is bleeding to death. Rail lines bombed, factories starved of fuel, synthetic rubber failing.
Tanks sitting in snow because there's no gasoline.
And yet the Americans leave supplies in the forest because it slows them down to pick them up. The contrast is not just tactical, it is cosmic. Suddenly Von Luck notices something else. Tracks in the snow, dozens of them pressed deep and clean. Boot prints, fresh tire tracks, the marks of a large U.S. infantry company that passed through only hours ago. He follows them with his eyes and sees it. The path bending westward deeper into the trees toward German lines. They're not scattered, they're not cautious, they're advancing. Steady, organized, fed, fueled. Ready? Von Luck exhales through his nose, slow and controlled. Then he says something no officer of the Wehrmacht is supposed to say. Not aloud, not even in the war's darkest hour. We cannot stop them. His lieutenant stiffens, unsure whether he heard correctly. Von Luck isn't finished. They can advance like this for weeks. We can't last days. He presses his palm against the warm Jeep hood. This vehicle was a revelation. But this clearing, this careless overflow of material, this is the proof. The Reich isn't collapsing from a single battle. It's collapsing from mathematics. Weight, volume, production, logistics. The Americans aren't winning the war at the front. They're winning it in the factories, in the oil refineries, in the shipyards, in the assembly lines churning day and night. This clearing is the front row view of that unstoppable engine. And just when Von Luck thinks he has seen the worst of it, a distant rumble shakes the ground beneath his boots. Not artillery, not tanks. Engines. Many engines. Coming toward them. American engines. Von Luck freezes, because whatever is emerging from the tree line next will either answer his final questions or bury the last illusion of German victory for good. The rumble grows louder. Not chaotic, not scattered. A steady mechanical heartbeat rolling through the fog like an approaching storm. Von Luck turns toward the sound, every instinct tightening. His men raise rifles, though they already know the truth. They don't have enough bullets for what's coming. The trees ahead glow faintly. Headlights diffuse through the fog, shimmering like ghosts. Then the silhouettes emerge. American trucks. Dozens of them. Olive drab giants, each one taller, broader, and newer than any German supply vehicle left in the field. Their engines run smooth and deep, the unmistakable hum of GMC, CCKW 212-ton trucks, the backbone of the American supply machine. One appears. Then another, a conveyor belt of steel and rubber. Von Luck steps back instinctively, the Jeep's engine still idling behind him like a reminder of everything he just learned. The first truck passes through the fog, close enough that he can see the white star emblazoned on its side. The men inside look relaxed, chatting, eating, passing around a thermos, as if driving behind enemy lines is no more troublesome than a morning commute. But it's what the truck carries that stops Von Luck's breath. Fuel drums, rows of them, stacked 2 layers high. Enough fuel to run a German battalion for a week. Then comes the second truck, a mountain of ammunition crates. Third truck, medical supplies. Fourth truck, radio equipment. Fifth, fresh winter clothing. Sixth, spare tires. Seventh, more fuel. And they keep coming. A river of logistics in motion. Von Luck cannot look away. He is witnessing the one thing German commanders always feared but rarely saw with their own eyes. eyes. The American war machine not in theory, but in motion. He imagines the factories churning day and night, the Liberty ships unloading in Antwerp, the rail cars rolling west, the pipelines pumping fuel across newly liberated territory. Germany, by contrast, has rail lines in ruins, factories without coal, and depots running on hope instead of diesel. He feels suddenly painfully small. His lieutenant whispers, "Sir, if these trucks push forward, they'll outrun us in a day." Von Luck nods. They already have. Another truck passes. A driver tosses a half-eaten biscuit out the window. It lands in the snow near Von Luck's boot. An afterthought, a crumb from an empire of abundance. The Oberst stares at it. A single uneaten biscuit holding more calories than some of his men have had all week. Behind him, German soldiers watch the seemingly endless convoy with growing disbelief. Their eyes widen as each truck offers a new reminder of what the Reich can no longer produce, no longer transport, no longer sustain. It is no longer a battle of armies. It is a battle of supply chains. And Germany's has already collapsed. The 8th truck passes, the 9th. Then, just when Von Luck thinks he has absorbed all he can, a massive roar echoes behind the convoy. A column of American Sherman tanks rolls into view, engines shaking the ground, turrets scanning the forest, and not frantically, but confidently like predators that expect no real resistance. Fresh paint, full fuel, crews well-fed, well-supplied, and unhurried. Von Luck feels something inside him crack. This is no longer a question of bravery, or strategy, or even leadership. This is a question of numbers, of industrial horsepower, of a nation that can build more tanks in a month than Germany can repair in a season. He lowers his binoculars slowly, one emotion washing over him. Finality. "This is it," he whispers. "This is the moment. The war is already decided." His lieutenant stares at him. "What should we do, Herr Oberst?" Von Luck doesn't answer immediately, because the truth is bitter. It doesn't matter what he does. Not anymore. But before he can speak, before he can give the order that will shape the fate of his unit, one of the American Sherman turrets turns directly toward the tree line where his men are hiding. The fog shifts. The gun barrel locks into place. The tank commander rises from his hatch, scanning the trees. Von Luck draws a quiet breath. The moment of decision has arrived.